Professor Black Ops, Cybersecurity for the people. You said, let's get it. iPhone snoops on your camera and microphone, and it actually takes off the light so you don't know it. Some new malware, some new nation state stuff. So, let's slide on it and read these couple slides super quick, super quick. Research has developed a new technique that fakes a shutdown or reboot of iPhones, preventing malware from being removed and allowing hackers to secretly snoop and receive sensitive data via live network connection. So you on your phone, you think you're rebooted, it's up. You could be dressing, doing anything in your iPhone spying on you. Historically, when malware infects an iOS device, it can be removed simply by restarting the device, which clears the malware from memory. However, this technique hooks the shutdown and reboots routine to prevent them from ever happening, allowing malware to achieve persistence as the device is never actually turned off. Because this attack, which the researchers call no reboot, does not exploit any flaws on the iOS, instead relies on human level deception, it cannot be patched by Apple. Once again, this is human level deception. It cannot be patched by Apple. Simulating a convincing reboot, to restart the iPhone, one has to press and hold the power button and either the volume button until the slider in the reboot option appears, and then waits roughly 30 seconds for actions to complete. When an iPhone is shut off, its screen naturally goes dark. The camera is turned off. 3D touch feedback does not respond to long press. Sounds from calls and notification are muted, and all vibrations are absent. Security research from Zach Ops has developed the Trojan proof of concept, the tool that can inject special crafted and code onto the iOS daemons to fake a shutdown by disabling all the above indicators. Right, so you think it's boot because it went off, but it does not do the normal like buzz, click, and all that stuff. Here's the diagram of in-call service. Slider to shut off the UI, send shutdown notice to the system service. Springboards receive a notification and proceed to shutdown. After Springboard exists, Backboard is responsible for the spinning wheel. So all the normal stuff that happens, it catches and reroutes those, right? The Trojan hijacked the shutdown events, hooking the signal into the Springboard. Using an interface interaction daemon, instead of expecting signal, the Trojan will send a code that will force Springboard to exit, making the device non-responsive to user input. This is the perfect disguise in case because the device that enters a shutdown state shall actually no longer accept user input. Next, the Blackboard daemon is commanded to display the spinning wheel that indicates the shutdown is underway. The backboard is another iOS daemon that logs the physical button click and screen touch events with timestamps. So abusing it gives the Trojan a power to know when the user attempts to turn on the phone. So here's the code for that. I mean, most people don't get that in depth, but you see the interface, void, backboard, is spinning wheel, external, and void, right? So that's the code that actually runs behind the scenes. That's catching all that, so you actually think your phone actually rebooted. By monitoring these actions, the user can be deceived to release the button earlier than they were supposed to avoid an actual forced restart. SecOps described the next step in the no reboot attack as follows. The file will unleash the springboard and trigger a special code block on the inject. What it does is leverage the SHH access to gain root privileges. Then we can execute bin launch to reboot the user space. This will exit our processes and restart the system without touching the kernel. The kernel remains patched, hence the malicious code won't have any problem continuing to run after the reboot. The user will see the Apple logo effect upon restarting. This is handled by the backboard with 2D as well as launching the springboard. And the backboard is the springboard that takes over the screen, right? So this is the programming of the malware they injected into there once again to simulate that you think your phone is actually rebooting. This shows you in the log what actually happens, shows the backboard, combat backboard finished after 4.45 seconds. So this just walks through the log and you can actually see that the spring backboard is catching that, right? But you're not going to look in the logs to see if your phone was actually rebooting, right? So the big thing is iPhones snoops on camera. In red, never trust that the device is fully turned off. Apple introduced a new feature in iOS 15 making it possible for users to locate their iPhone through Find Me even if they are powered off, right? So that feature is one reason why your phone never cuts off, right? Because if it cuts off, the Find Me couldn't find it. Apple didn't bother to explain how exactly it works, but researchers found it is achieved by keeping the Bluetooth LPM chip activated and running anonymously even when the phone is switched off. While all user interaction with devices is turned off, the Bluetooth chip continues to advertise its presence to nearby devices by opening a low power mode. A bit intervals larger than a FOB 15. This illustrates that you can never trust a device to be entirely powered off, even when you turn your phone off. Likewise, the no reboot technique makes it impossible to physically detect if an iPhone is on or not. To our outward appearance, to your device appears to be shut down, right? Once again, all outward appearance of a phone seems to be shut off. Furthermore, malware developers and hackers can now persist in iOS devices with this technique, whether the usual recommendation of restarting an iPhone to clear infection is no longer works. Right. So in the past, you had it; it was in memory. You cut it off, and the malware would, be gone. So let's look at a quick version of that, where this shows the iPhone where you think it's off and it's actually on. So that's the company ZOps that was actually doing it. Just kind of going to walk through the technique. I don't want to play it too long, so I don't get a copyright strike, but I'm just going to show about 30 seconds though. We have fair use. So that's the phone over there. It shows you walking through the camera. The camera's recording silently on an infected phone. No visual indicators that the camera's not working. It's at the top. So it shows you through the other phone how people will be spying on you. There you go. You think it's turned off. Power the phone off to get rid of the non-persistent malware. If you look on the left, the phone never went off. Once again, you touching it, but you can see the phone is not really powered off. It's still running, and all functionality is disabled except for the camera recording you Trojan or you're not dressing properly. Then you push the button. Right, you holding it, it comes up. You assume the user's powering the phone up. The iOS boot with the animation to avoid any suspicion by the victim. So that's how much as I want to play, and that's it. Once again, Professor Black Ops, cybersecurity for the people. Be safe out here with these iPhones.